Welcome back. You asked, and ABC-7 is finding you answers. A viewer recently sent us some questions about the impact of video games on teens, especially violent video games. And joining us live to help answer some of those questions, Dr. Ricardo Whyte with Dignity Health. Thanks for joining us, sir.
John, good morning to you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, Asim Pasasi sent us this question recently about video games like Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, games where players shoot guns and steal. How does it affect teens? What's the research say?
So some studies document a correlation between playing violent video games and short-term increases in aggressive behavior, but the correlation doesn't imply causation. What's interesting is that in 2017, the American Psychological Association stated that there is a consistent link between violent video game use and increased aggression. But they acknowledge that more research is needed to really understand the nature of the relationship. So what's interesting here is, as stated by the great psychiatrist, Dr. Carl Bell, a risk factor is not always predictive for that factor actually being expressed because of protective factors. So those are some of the nuances that we have to keep in mind. But the ultimate question we have to ask ourselves, John, is what kind of world do we want to live in? One where people are practicing destroying things and destroying people, or building things and building people.
Right, right. It just seems like such a no-brainer if kids are watching violence that they might try and act it out. I remember when I was a kid, we used to watch the wrestling shows, and of course, we were all trying to do the moves. I mean, it seems like they would be connected, but obviously more research has to be done. Do studies show violent video games make players more physically violent or aggressive? Is there anything to that?
Well, there are some studies that are showing short-term that there can be an increase. It's just that sometimes the data is not as unified as you might like, and it's so nuanced because is it going to express or is it not going to express? There are other factors, such as are they being bullied? Are they in a nurturing family environment? So it's a nuanced question, but we can practically tell ourselves, hey, I want this young person practicing and rehearsing behaviors that are going to actually help society. And today's society has a lot of problems, so we could really use some help.
Yeah, we sure could. Any indication that these video games have an impact on mental health, say depression or something like that?
Well, there are some studies that, for example, especially with television viewing, there were some suggestions that possibly as you sit and you're just constantly just taking things in, it could have a negative impact on the brain and lead to a predisposition to some of the psychiatric disorders. Again, it's if only there was more consensus.
Yeah, it sounds like we need more research. Is it safe to say?
That's very safe to say, John.
All right. Okay, doctor, but thanks for the insight you were able to give us. We certainly do appreciate it.